This game is very well known for its difficulty, but what a lot of people don't know is that it also has 3 ROM sets based on different letters of the alphabet. Today I'm going to be running version K. I believe version K is referred to as the European version. It's essentially the version that was released for the US after version M, which is the very well-known hardest difficulty version of this game. Like, it's ridiculously unfair. I will state that I have cleared version M in the past, but unfortunately I don't feel it's marathon ready or safe yet. Maybe next year, but this is still a great way to show off the game. Version K is my favorite version of the game to play. It's only slightly harder than the Japanese version, which is version N or P, which I think are identical. Those versions, the upside you have is that when you fall off a cliff, it doesn't kill you. You only lose half your life. Personally, I'd rather lose a credit and lose half my life, or lose a credit just by falling off a cliff rather than lose half my life, because trying to regain health back in this game to actually do something is a lot more stress-inducing than just losing the credit and being like, oh, okay, game did things. Definitely a bigger fan of that. So anyway, yeah, we'll be playing as Simon Belmont in this game. How he has blue hair, I don't know, but it looks great. Plus he has those really thick thighs that are really well animated. Go ahead and pop a quarter in here. As you can see, the opening credits scene does show that Simon did get married. I think they were going a little bit too much for the Ghosts and Goblins vibe there. Game also has some sick music. Similar to Castlevania NES, we're going to be romping our way through 6 stages. Wait this out. There's actually a speed strat you can do there where you take a damage boost off that crumbling statue. Turn around and kill this guy because it's safe. That's unfortunate. Didn't have that guy quite in range, but we got all the hearts we needed, so we're good. This crumbling wall has no RNG. It's the exact same brick pattern every single time. So all I'm going to do is just sit in the corner and whip as they come at me. We'll be fine. Why they needed to kill the music to have the rain, I'll never understand. Because they just revert it back anyway. No music change or anything like that. Quick platforming segment here. Just don't go on the floor here and you're fine. Make sure you make every single one of these jumps. They're not hard. They're all spaced exactly the same. Once it's over, we can go back on the floor. Speaking of speed strats, you can also damage boost off these dryads, which is faster, but they do 3 damage apiece, and I'd rather maintain the health, because for me, it's more about survivability here than speed. We're gonna get a random bat? Yeah, we got a random bat. It's unfortunate. Here, I'm hoping for 2 skeletons on the bridge. Very good. So now we get our access to our first sub-weapon, the bomb. Unlike Castlevania games otherwise, when you get a sub-weapon in this game, you get 5 hearts to go along with it. So, very valuable to have there. So I'm gonna chill out right here. This is a completely safe spot from the bats. I don't believe bombs have ever been used in another Castlevania game, but in this game they function exactly the same as Holy Water does in Castlevania NES, except it's not nearly as useful. So I'm gonna let Medusa spawn here so I can have this boss fight. Got the stun lock. Very good. Missed 1 toss, but still good. What happens with the bomb is, as long as you can stun lock her on a proper pixel range, you'll keep her in place and you can just hit her 4 more times and she loses the game. Stage 2, one of the 4 stages, we're going to start off by going to the left. Skeletons get a little bit of a change in this game where we have to hit them and immediately crouch because they're going to do that, and we can't hit those flying ghouls. Like, we actually can't damage them, so it's better just to avoid them. Some more goodies. Boomerang's not a particularly useful weapon. We actually won't be using it at all, but we did get our first melee upgrade in the Morning Star. Morning Star is quite a bit better than Whip. I believe it does double the damage. Let the screen scroll a little bit. Kill that. Jumping over that boulder without taking a hit is actually pretty difficult. The hitbox on the boulder is way larger than you want it to be. Past that river of blood. Make our way through the cave. We'll do a quick jump down here. And this segment's actually cost me quite a few runs, so I'm going to be a little quiet here. Enjoy the visuals of the water, though. I love how the water looks here. Chilling. This bat's also a bit of a problem. I'm going to let him show up. Okay, it didn't hit me. That's good. I was more than willing to wait that out. I'd rather just not take damage from him. Oh, here comes another one. That bat just killed my run. Neat. Oh well. I'm still gonna continue, but yeah. Stage 2 is weird. Cool thing is, I still have all my hearts. So what can happen sometimes there, and that's not the first time that's happened, is if that bat shows up, you basically can just lose the run right there. If I waited too long, he would have hit me. And I don't think it would have been necessarily safer to wait. But maybe I got greedy with that. I don't know. I'll take that hit, though. I was kind of hoping he'd boost me forward into the platform, but I guess not. Either way, the run's not going to be any different from here. Here we have the reason this game is as much fun as it is. Stopwatch is completely busted. In fact, we're using it right there to despawn a bunch of bats that would show up in the cave. Also use stopwatch there to prevent that dragon from doing anything. Go on up. So these mud men just time your jumps and you'll be able to jump over them every single time. That last one sometimes can spawn a little bit early, but I adjust that by just doing a neutral jump and holding forward. Move on down. Oh, bats. There's also a bat in this segment that I tend to think of as a destroyer of worlds. He's going to be right here. If I had not delayed that and showed up when the game wanted me to, he would have been right there to let me fall on him if I'd just been trying to go too fast. You can wait it out, but it's still the fact that he's there that annoys me more than anything. Kill that thing. On to the Bone Dragon. One of my favorite boss fights, because we can just use stopwatch and do this. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is stopwatch. Don't disagree, BBH. But I could be playing version P and getting around that. I just prefer not to. Okay, stage 3. One or two of you might recognize this song. Weird thing to refer. Gremlins, Fleamen, whatever you're gonna call them, they're actually harder in this version than they are in version M. Intentional damage boost here from the chandelier, so I can just not get hit by all that. And we also get to show off another very cool utilization of stopwatch. I'm going to jump here, stopwatch when I jump. Every time you use a sub-weapon, it actually throws out a melee attack as well. When we disappear into that room, we have to fight a bunch of harpies. But if stopwatch is active, they don't show up, we just get to leave immediately. Definitely worth the 2 hearts. Da, 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 da. Speaking of this song, can anyone tell me the name of it? I'm not sure I know the name. So I walk casually by that painting of Courtney Love. And jump right into this thing. Stopwatch there to stop some abuse. Jump all the way up here. You can climb up that, but it's so much more efficient to jump because you are using stopwatch. How fast you get through these segments is actually pretty important. Walk our way down here, dodge the eyeball. Anyway, about gremlins. Here they do 2 damage. In version M, which is the hard version, they only do 1 damage. Why they made them easier, I have no clue. So here's a make or break point. I want to make sure they all go off to the left. Only thing we don't want here is the boomerang. I want a sword. Sword is our last melee upgrade, and it's well worth having. It's so much better than Morningstar. But it's also more important to have it for other reasons that I'll get to here in just a moment once I finish off this stained glass warrior. So anyway, as I discovered in a run last weekend for Castlevania for a Cause, if you finish this stage without getting the sword, the game downgrades you to the whip for your melee. So I don't know why it does that. It feels very punch out of it and really dirty. But I learned it the hard way and had a really bad run as a result. So stage 4 is... I wouldn't say it's the hardest stage in the game, but it definitely has the worst boss. It also has my favorite music in the game. Den of Worship is just timeless. I could listen to this song all day. Work our way down here. New enemies here being the mummies. They're the reason why not having whip here is important. They take 5 hits with whip to kill, and only 2 with sword. Killing these guys with only 5 melee attacks without taking a hit yourself is no easy task. I don't think I did it once, even. Yeah, I couldn't hit that guy. That was just rude. That second mummy did drop a 5er, though, so very important to make sure we got rid of him. We enter these eyeballs, let it roll off to the right. This one we're going to kill. I can just despawn them. Spawn this mummy, do this. Take a heart. More cool water effects. I'm going to wait for these platforms to rise all the way to the top, because they will descend after a certain point. Also, pro tip, when you're jumping on that, do jump, don't fall. If you fall, the platforms will reach their maximum altitude for whatever your fall height was, and you don't want that. For this Raven, I'm going to do a neutral jump and just kill him that way. First time that guy hasn't thrown a bone at me in quite some time. This gremlin's important to kill. He has a 5-piece. Of course, he dropped it all the way down there, so I gotta go back to get it. Can't even get a cool damage boost off that. Thanks, game. This damage I'm taking really isn't that consequential. We're gonna have an embarrassing number of hearts by the end of this stage. Take this. Kill that. I want to make sure I kill the mummy to where it launches the boomerang up on top of the platform, because we still need stopwatch. Like, even though we've abused stopwatch plenty already, we're not done with it. We got plenty more to do with this little gadget. In fact, you need stopwatch pretty much through the entirety of stage 5 to make sure it goes even somewhat clean. Off that platform. So this will take us to our boss of this stage, and this is the worst boss of the game. In fact, you can look at the color on the wall and probably discern just exactly how I feel about this guy. I just refer to him as the Golgothan, and if you've seen Dogma, you know why. This guy sucks. So essentially what this guy can do is he can just launch fists at us to his heart's content. And this is just pure randomness. He hasn't spawned on the screen even. It's been a while since I've seen him throw 3 fists before he even shows up on screen. What I'm waiting for him to do is come to about the halfway point of the screen. That way I can stopwatch and just finish him off from there. But that is going to require cooperation. Sometimes you can't even... He'll throw a fist that you can't jump or duck, which is really lame. Yeah, I tried to get that, but okay. Also, if I had fallen there, I would have taken a death. Not that it matters, really, because once CC attempt is over. But you also do have a credit max in this game. I believe it's, no, it's not enough. Sure. Okay. 2 hearts wasted, unfortunate. Getting him at a proper height is tricky, and that's another thing that just makes this boss fight so garbage. When he does the incoming where he launches the fist, that's just even more just like a screw you move. Definitely one of the worst RNG fights I've had against this guy in some time. Okay, there we go. So from here I can just hold up the entire time and it'll buffer more stopwatch use. Had to use the stopwatch a second time, which is unfortunate, but we still got to finish him off. That dude sucks. Anyway, we're done with that. On to stage 5, our last stopwatch abuse stage. Get this little elevator sequence. It is possible to complete this elevator without taking a single hit, but it's really difficult. There's a much easier strat that only involves you taking 1 hit that I'm going to utilize. I'm going to do right about here. That might take a second hit there. I didn't want to get hit by that. Yeah, that wasn't great. 3 hits even, jeez. So not great. Gonna use stopwatch here. Using stopwatch here ensures that there will not be a bunch of ravens that are gonna be just sitting on these perches. There's only gonna be 1. I'm gonna try and kill him and take his heart. Cool, he actually dropped a 5 or 2, so that's really good for us. So we can deal with this gremlin. The stopwatch here over the top of the coffin. This one I'm just gonna kill. You're not supposed to because it's supposed to prevent flaming skull heads from spawning like that one. But I haven't got one of those to happen in quite some time. Hope it also despawned the suit of armor. Didn't work. Guess you had to do that way before that. Turn around and kill that guy. The flaming skulls are more just annoying than they are threatening, but I'd still rather just not have to deal with them. The real question here is whether or not we're going to have a skeleton at the top of this staircase. We do not. Okay, so we're getting our last sub-weapon from that gremlin then instead. We'll just avoid the bats. Definitely getting hit by that. That was way too close. So the cross is going to be what we're using for our last 2 bosses. Did not want this thing showing up. Take a decent amount of damage here. We should be able to get a good trade-off out of that. Stay outside the door, launch crosses at Frank, and he can't beat it. Crosses you can just spam really, really well. I think you get like 5 in a single fire rate, which is really strong. So yeah, worth doing. For our final boss, we have the bridge, and that is actually accurate. The bridge is essentially the last difficult thing we have to do in the game. There is a faster way to do this where you time your jumps to attack the bats instead, but I'll be honest, I haven't learned that yet. It's easier just to kill the first, like, I forget about exactly how many it is. It's like 9 to 11 of them to get the 2 fibers, because I want a lot of hearts going in this last segment. Once I get the second 5 node, I just move on to Dracula, and then we'll just end the game from there. From there, I'll just, any bats I see, I'm just gonna damage boost off of them. They only do 1 damage a piece, and we only just take 5 hits, so it's useful. Kill you. Every time we hit an enemy, it does draw the bridge a little bit closer to us. In fact, after I kill this one, it's gonna look like I shouldn't even be walking on anything. At least the music's good though, right? It's also one of my favorite memes of the game. Literally looks like he's walking on nothing. It must be a rainbow bridge. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could be so free. Believe it or not, I'm just me. Last hit. Everyone knows Simon is the true great American hero anyway. And yeah, after the bridge, you just go right to the Dracula fight. Very, very simple stage. It's just that learning the bridge is the biggest thing about it. For Dracula, the only thing we really need to make sure we get is to do our best to get a 1 cycle in the first phase, which I'm going to try by going right here, throwing a bunch of crosses. Got a 1 cycle, that's excellent. And on to phase 2, I'm just going to spam crosses again. Also, I apologize, I did not have the proper game up here. There we go. That was supposed to be the right game. And that's a clear. Not a 1 credit clear, mind you, but taking the death didn't only cost us time. Still got to show off everything cool about this game that I very much enjoy. Thank you all for the GGs. Hopefully, this game is now 3-1 against me in marathon luck. I once CC'd it for the Halloween marathon, and in the 3 attempts since then, it's always got me. Alas, the mistake was mine to make. It's what it is. Alright, looks like that's going to be it for me for today. I will be hosting the final stretch of games later today, beginning with... I forget which game it is. Beginning with the Fighter's History Dynamite on through our fighting game block and our finale Metal Slug 4. But for now, we've got the one and only Aquas coming up with some Strider. So...